European Stixxay. Regular Stixxay. European Stixxay. Regular Stixxay. I'm gonna go back to this one. I like this one better. Yo, what up? How's it going? And welcome back to today's VoD review. Today's video we'll be doing TSM versus Counter-Logic Gaming. This is going to be week 5, day 1 of the LCS Spring Split. And cool, let's get right into it. Normally I'd go ahead and start talking about draft, but we'll do that in just 1 second. I'll just be up front. This game, if you've all already seen it, is going to be kind of... Really, this is a GG go next type of game. Based off of, like, after the first 10 minutes of the game. This is really, like, if this game was a scrim, or if this wasn't like a professional match on stage, this is definitely like a GG go next type of game. There's what I mean by that is there's not a bunch of really high level analysis anybody's really going to be able to provide, other than some early stuff I'm going to talk about, where the bot lane stuff maybe went wrong and maybe some things that could have been done differently, and then talk a little bit about how TSM played with their lead after they had that, and maybe some things Counter-Logic Gaming could have done to like thwart that lead. But honestly, like, with the lead that TSM got in the first, basically 10 minutes of the game, was kind of insurmountable, barring just a big, mental boom by TSM. So just wanted to be upfront with that. I'm not going to pretend I'm about to give some crazy, like, TSM did this crazy play right here. Like, no, I mean, look, it was, this game was a GG go next type of game. Just want to be upfront with that. Just want to be honest. Based off of some good play by TSM and some weird things that, or maybe not some weird things that Counter-Logic Gaming did, but maybe some things they could have done differently. But we will still talk about the draft here. This was not a GG go next game based off of the draft, because I thought the draft was fine by both teams. But we'll talk about the draft here. So I have the draft in actual, this isn't in pick order. Champions are just on the people who are going to play them, rather than in pick order. I normally leave it in pick order to show how the draft went. But this draft really wasn't that interesting. It was just, people pick flex picks in the first rotation and kind of flex them around a little bit. But the draft didn't have a huge impact on what happened in terms of what each team picked. It wasn't like how some games you see the draft and you see strategic teams are picking things and it's like, oh, you're pulling and taking away, and then they're having to restructure how their draft is going in the second phase. This draft wasn't really like that. I mean, this was really just kind of a standard draft phase, so it wasn't really that important for me to weave it there. The only thing interesting to really talk about, the bans weren't all that interesting. The bans were pretty normal looking bans. The only thing interesting to talk about in terms of the pick order is the early prioritization on the Galio. So that is a flex between mid and support, most namely in support, and I'll explain the support Galio real quick for people who aren't familiar with it. So it's a pick that's being seen a lot in LCK. So support Galio. Not the best in lane. What he can offer in lane, though, I will tell you this, what he can offer in lane is you can get a really fast level 2. And we'll talk about that in the game, because that's something that CLG didn't utilize. And I'll maybe talk about why they didn't, but why I think it was the poor decision. I don't think they played the lane right, but I could be wrong. But I don't think they played the level 1 right in that lane, specifically based off of this game. One of the strong points for Galio in lane is that he's obviously balanced for mid lane. So you can throw your Q out and you can clip the front end of the minions, hit the caster minions, and then use your passive. And hit the melee minions, and you basically half health all of the minions, so you can get early push so easily. And I can't, and hardly any lane can outpush Galio at level 1. Galio at the support position, hardly any lane can outpush him. So you should usually get the level 2, or the early level 2 advantage if you want it. And something that's interesting about this game is that the kill window for the Kai'Sa Thresh lane is level 2. Like, that's a kill window, and if Ezreal gets the early lane priority in this lane, which Ezreal and Galio can, you kind of shut down that kill window early. And if you're worried about jungle ganks, Sejuani can't gank level 2. So we'll talk about that more when we get into the game. Based off of jungle position, they were mainly doing it because their own jungler is pathing top, but the enemy jungler can't gank until level 3. And if you're playing the Galio Ezreal lane correctly, you can actually bounce your wave off of you can actually bounce your wave off of the enemy tower by the time Sejuani's level 3, or by the time Sejuani's going to actually have a gank window, if she is in fact in that vicinity. So I think that's probably how they should have played the lane, to avoid the level 2 kill window that a Kai'Sa Thresh can have on you, because Ezreal and Galio should be able to get level 2 first in that specific lane if they don't have to give a leash. So anyways, but more talking about Galio. That was more talking about Galio. Is what he can offer in lane is, yeah, he can offer the lane push early in lane. Can offer some a lot of gank assistance. So can offer a lot of gank assistance. Kind of like a handshake lane. Not going to get you a lot of kills and stuff like that, but can give you good minion management, all that good stuff. And then obviously the level 6 does really well with the jungler. And then what a Galio can provide at level 6. I mean, we all know what a Galio can provide at level 6 and what he can provide to a team comp. So that's why Galio is played at support. So good minion wave management. The obvious utility of the champion. Good gank assist, and good gank assist, and then the champion comes hugely online at level 6, and obviously he's Galio. You know, he's Galio in the late game. So the big utility of that champion. So that's why he's being played at support. So it makes a lot of sense. He's also really gold efficient. So him being a support champion makes a whole lot of sense. So that's where the prioritization was there. Cool. The only other weird thing that happened in draft was the Taliyah pick. So Taliyah getting picked again. So Taliyah was last pick. That was what they saved their last pick for. So it wasn't directly like a counter pick to Viktor, but Taliyah was just this was just an okay situation for Taliyah. So the interesting thing about Taliyah being able to be picked here is something that's really cool about the meta right now, with all the OPs getting nerfed. With all the OPs getting nerfed, except for on this patch, except for Urgot is the only OP that's not nerfed, but Urgot's actually not picked or banned this game because people were prioritizing split pushers this game anyways. With all those nerfed, a lot of champions that were previously not very good in the meta are now okay to play, because there's not really any super OP champions, super oppressive champions in each role. And what's cool about the meta right now is that you can play to multiple different types of win conditions. So if a situation arises where a champion that has a really good kit can be in the game, then you can actually play it, and you're proficient on the champion. So someone like Bjergsen, who's really proficient on Taliyah, if you can cast your mind back to, you know, Season 7, Season 6, that type of stuff, then you can remember, like, crazy Taliyah plays by Bjergsen. So Taliyah has, like, a really solid kit, and champions have a really solid kit. Come back into the meta when there's not crazy overpowered champions filling up those lanes. So like champions like Orianna is getting a lot of play now again because her kit is just really great. So since there's not champions that are overpowered in that lane, then champions like that will get played again. So that's why Taliyah is getting played in this situation, but also will provide something to their win condition that I'll talk about in a second. So I just wanted to talk a little bit to that. Taliyah didn't really have a huge impact on this game, but we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, cool. So let's talk about team comps and win conditions. Cool. So let's look over at TSM's team comp over here. So we obviously have a split pusher over here. We have all this stuff going on. So we can have a decent 4-1 compositions because we have 4 members over here that have really good team fighting, and Taliyah can collect side waves and then rotate onto side lanes really well. So, and Sejuani is one of the best champions at shadowing a split pusher and setting up a split pusher for success. So they can actually have a 4-1 win condition, and can also have like an objective control mid game team fight win condition. So this gives them like a broader type of win condition. So even if their top lane gets behind, which top lane gets behind or doesn't stomp, they actually have a pretty solid team comp for like mid lane river control. That type of stuff with the Taliyah pick and the Sejuani, and the Thresh has a lot of like mid-game river control and have a lot of power in the mid-game. So that makes a lot of sense here. So they have a team fight win condition as well as a split push win condition. So both soft win conditions in those areas. So pretty solid team composition over here. And the reason why the Taliyah makes sense is if we're trying to get our split pusher ahead, then our Taliyah can roam over. Our Taliyah can roam over and set our split pusher up for success. And if we have a split pusher in the side lane, then if our split pusher gets collapsed on, then Taliyah can provide assistance there. As well as this bot lane may get pushed in the early game by the by the Ezreal and the Galio if their plan on CLG side is to get plates and stuff like that. So the Taliyah could capitalize on that as well to try to get the Kai'Sa and set up for like 4-man bot plays with the Taliyah, Thresh, and Sejuani like hooking and bringing in the Sejuani and looking for plays that way. So can do a lot of different things with this pick right here. And also Taliyah will have priority over the Viktor, outranges in the early game, and has better item timings as well. So we'll come online a lot earlier in the game than the Viktor will. Cool. We'll look over at CLG's comp over here. So Jarvan is a champion that does okay into Jayce actually. So you might watch games and see Jarvan's just get smacked by Jayce's, but Jarvan actually does decent into Jayce. It's actually a matchup that is tenable. I don't think he goes for the summoner area. You can go for the summoner area and actually match poke, but I don't believe he goes that. I think he just takes the losing side of it, and he's just going to lose gracefully, but that's fine. Cool. So you have good gank setup with the Galio and Aatrox. Scaling mid laner, a mid game AD carry that also scales really well, and then the Galio. So you can actually have a lot of lane priority bottom lane if you want it. Going to be shoved in on the top side and going to not have will not have lane priority in mid side either. So definitely don't like CLG's comp in the early game. So would like to see Wiggily set up his bot lane for success into the early game. Would like to see Wiggily set up his bot lane for success in the early game, because what you want this comp to be able to do is to be able to pressure in the Kai'Sa and get some plates. But the only fault in that is the Taliyah pick was really good in this situation, because now you're worrying about getting the collapsed on. But in the early game, you can get that pressure on, and if Wiggily can get some assurance and get some vision in for the Taliyah roams. That is a soft win condition in the early game, is to get the Ezreal lane ahead. And if we can get to the mid game, and the Ezreal is ahead, then you just transition that Ezreal to the mid lane with the Galio, and you have a whole lot of map control with Ezreal and Galio in the mid lane. And you have double teleports to collect side waves, and you can have a lot of control there. I do definitely favor TSM's comp, because I think their comp has a lot more tools to fight in the mid game and are set up to get ahead easier. So I do favor TSM's comp, even if they're at a neutral state. Something that's good about CLG's comp is that the Jarvan, the Aatrox, and the Ezreal come online super early in the game, so they could also look for a mid-game fight. So it might come down just to execution, and then have the obvious like hyper-scaling options of the Viktor and Ezreal. Will be a little bit harder to navigate out of the early game. Something else that Wiggly's going to have to be noticeable of is the Jarvan getting dove. So So this game is going to depend a lot on Wiggily. So Wiggly's in a really tough spot because he wants to set up his bot lane for success, but at the same time he needs to make sure that Darshan just doesn't get smacked by Broken Blade and Akaadian. So if CLG can navigate out of the early game, and the Ezreal can come out with a lead, they can transition that Ezreal to the middle of the map, and they can actually have a lot of control over the map with that. If the Ezreal is in the lead, so that is their win condition. But the worrying part of that is the amount of control that the Taliyah might have over the early game, and if Broken Blade and Akaadian just smash Darshan. So this game puts Wiggily in a really tough spot to try to do something, and bot lane kind of goes boom in this game, so it kind of lets him down. But anyways, let's just get right into the game. We'll put this in ×2 speed. Did a lot of explaining there, but cool. Let's just get right into it. We need to talk about, obviously we're going to be talking about bot lane. We all know what happened in this game. But we'll need to talk about bot lane. I really think they played the lane wrong in terms of how they pushed it, because you can totally bounce it back before Sejuani has a gank timing. I think they're really worried about getting roamed on. But the kill window for the Kai'Sa and the Thresh is level 2, but they can't kill you through minions. I could be wrong, but in an even lane state, I really think, I mean, something you see, it's not just me thinking this. I mean, the Galio Ezreal can get the level 2 advantage on this lane. Sejuani starting top side, so they know that. Sejuani wouldn't start blue buff without a leash. You for sure can get push priority with Galio Ezreal. There's no way you lose push priority. Are they 1 minion from level 2? Rough. Let's see. Yeah, 1 minion from level 2. What they're really worried about is their minions getting froze. Okay, so I'll tell you what they're worried about. They're worried about their minions getting froze in front of like this wall right here, and then Akaadian wrapping around behind them. That's what they're really worried about. Where'd they put their wards? But I don't think that's how you play the lane. If you're actually genuinely worried about the level 3 wraparound gank by the Sejuani, one, I just don't even think you should be worried about that much. Especially since Wiggily is pathing down bottom, since he's like literally pathing bottom. I don't think you should even be worried about that much. And then two, if you're actually worried about that much, I think you should just have defensive vision. Like just have vision right there. Like place that at 120 or whenever you wanted to. I think there's multiple places you could have placed defensive vision if that's actually what you worried about, if you wanted to play the lane. I mean, or you could just not get hit by the hook, right? I'm not saying that's why you got killed, because if you get hit by the hook, you die there. But also, if you just get the level 2 advantage, then they never have the chance to throw out the hook. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Because I don't think that's how you play this lane. And I'm trying to rationale why CLG was playing the lane this way. I'm just trying to think. They're worried about the Akaadian doing a wraparound gank is what they're worried about. Is red going to get stolen? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's so bad for Wiggily. Oh, that hook was just nice. I mean, that hook was nice, but what I'm trying to say is that there never should have been an opportunity for that hook, because they should have had the push priority. But now they have no priority in the lane, and they never will again. It's the way they're playing the lane. They know their jungler's topside, so they have to kind of play scared, right? They have no information on this Sejuani. Now they do. But they're already at a lane disadvantage. And yeah, and a double summoner disadvantage. Thresh having flash is very threatening. Yep, see. As I said that, Thresh having flash is very threatening. That's a free kill. If Ezreal walks up to the lane, they have to play super respectful. Not just because of the jungler, even if they see the jungler. Thresh having flash and then Stixxay not having flash. And that was just a good predictive hook. See, what he gets out of that hook, though, is the way he threw that hook. The reason why that hook was so good is he either hooks Ezreal out of the E, or he hooks Galio and gets Galio's flash. So either way he was getting something out of that hook. So either they get a kill or they get another flash. Whew. That's a big yikes. So now, really, all Akaadian has to do now, man, like, just big yikes. Like, the thing is TSM's bot lane didn't even have to get ahead. Like, what they wanted for their win condition was to set up their split pushers for success, and set up their split pusher to success, and then hopefully have the rest of their team get ahead. But if not, their mid-game team fighting was actually pretty good, and their river control would be good, and they have a lot of scaling options. So now Akaadian can try to play to his original win condition, right? Get his split pusher ahead, because his bot is just going to win solo. and they just try to get vision control. So Akaadian roam down. I think one of these are so Akaadian roam down to put a pink down, get the dragon, and then Bjergsen came down, got a vision, and then trying to set them up for success as well. Boom. Yeah, that's what Taliyah mid will do. So Akaadian just wants to try to get some vision for his bot side. Bjergsen's going to get vision for his bot side and get prio for his bot side. And then now Akaadian just has to play to his original win condition. Like Akaadian could just play to his original win condition and then transition that to his bottom lane. Because they're just going to win on their own. Like, they're actually going to win on their own. He just has to provide, like, the protective vision for them to just do what they're already doing. And to do what they're already doing. But, like, Akaadian's job now is so easy. He's just got to set up his mid laner and his top laner for success because bottom lane is so far ahead that all they need is defensive vision. So we're getting the crab here. They're going to push in the queer out vision and pressure. Yep, so they're bringing the 4-man group bottom. Cool. Nice. See, they don't actually have to force any plays here. They don't. What I mean by that, like, they don't actually need to, like, dive on these guys because Zven is so threatening on his own. Zven and Smoothie are so threatening on their own that just Taliyah missing and Sejuani clearing a ward is threatening on their own. So top lane just has to not die now. Look for a play mid. Smoothie's here. Hello. Hello. And now this game's completely boom. This game is just so boom. Like, and now the Kai'Sa is just gonna lane swap top. Take the plates top. Wherever Zven goes, the game is over. He already has his Q evolve. And now, okay, so now the game is at a state to where wherever Zven is on the map, CLG cannot be. Like, if Zven and multiple members of TSM are there, they will not ever win. They will not ever win a fight. So the only place that CLG can get an advantage is two things they can do in this game right now. Is they can look for a fight where Zven is nowhere near and they have a numbers advantage, or they can find a collapse on just Zven. I on it, like, Smoothie and Zven could for sure 2v4. So Zven's just going to get solo farm up here. He can honestly probably 1 versus 3 right now. So far ahead. No, he can't 1 versus 3. He can 1 versus 2 for sure. He actually doesn't have an item, but he has a Q evolve. He's just going to solo Stixxay. He has a 2-level lead. He has got 10 turret plates. Jesus. Cool. And now TSM's just going to go reset and then go grab the Drake. This game's too early to get Baron, so this game will stall out just a minute because it's too early to get Baron, right? So we'll just get forward vision into the enemy jungle because all the outer towers are taken. And basically, wherever Zven goes, all the minis die. This is when they try to make a collapse on the Zven, I believe, maybe? That's all CLG can do. They can either full collapse on the Zven, or they can collapse on a couple members of TSM away from Zven. So that's what they opt into. No, wait, that was a team code game, my bad. 15 turret plates. Jesus Christ. Because they took 3 turrets before. That's right. Cool. So CLG actually got vision control back in their topside jungle, which is good because that's where they're putting Zven, because Zven is actually side laning right now because he's so powerful on his own. They actually just exchanged that vision They just exchanged that vision because TSM was moving in the top quadrant. Because that's where TSM want their vision line around Zven. It's hard to say where they want their vision line right now because normally you would just say it around the objective that you want. So like you would say around this top, or you'd say around this top quadrant over here because it's forward vision into the enemy jungle around the objective that you want. But the objective that you want is the Baron, and the Baron isn't going to spawn for another 4 minutes because it's so early in the game. So you just want aggressive vision into a quadrant of your enemy's jungle that your team wants to be in. Because right now they're just trying to take towers and get kills so that they can push their advantage, right? So their champions that can get picks, like the Thresh, like the Sejuani, are going to be roaming around in this area, and the Taliyah and Kai'Sa are going to be collecting waves. And they're getting vision on these choke points because somebody who enters the choke point will get picked by a Thresh, a Sejuani, and then Kai'Sa will fly onto them, a Taliyah will fly onto them, and then they'll all be dead. So that's what they're setting up right here. They're setting up a death trap without like being in a death brush. They don't need to because of the champions that they picked. This is what I was talking about, like that mid-game objective control that they could actually do around an objective, but there's no objective. They're just doing it around a jungle. So that's what they're doing right now. Yep, and Broken Blade's winning the side lane. He's going to get killed here. So that's a play that CLG can make. Yeah, so they can collapse on a member that's not Zven. They're going to lose the tower for it. So, yeah, so TSM loses something. They're going to get something for it. The mid laners basically just trade ults there. What sucks is you would think like, oh, they took that and now they're going to peel back and take Baron. But like it's so early, they can't take Baron. Sorry, this game is not my best analysis because, like, what do you even say about this game? Tough. Ooh, that would have done a lot of damage if that would have hit. That wouldn't have killed, but he may have flashed for it. Nah, he would have ulted for it, I think, if he would have hit that. He would have killed. He would have hit it, and then it would have been one auto to kill, I think. Because it would have popped his passive. Boom. Doing it. Well, Master 2 is now online. Yep, so TSM's just going to take Cloud. I mean, they don't even need vision control. I think this is when CLG collapses on Zven. And this is the right move. If they do it right now. Yeah. So this is the right move because they know that since Cloud spawned, TSM is probably just going to pick it up. So since they're going to pick it up, they take the opportunity to just collapse on Zven because they know that TSM is probably just going to be taking Cloud, and they have zero business contesting an objective right now. So that's the right move for CLG. And they get the shutdown gold, so it's actually really worth that they wasted a bunch of like cooldowns. It's actually worth. But at the same time, TSM is going to punish. So they're just at a lose-lose situation right now. Like, they get like the 1,000 gold shutdown, but then they lose a tower and a Drake, and I think they lose another. They lose 2 towers and a Drake, right? Yeah, they lost 2 towers and a Drake, but like if they didn't do that, they were gonna lose 2 towers and a Drake. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? There's no good decision to make. That was the only way for them to get, you know, it was actually 850 gold shutdown. That was the only way for them to even get any gold. But Baron is finally up, so TSM can just literally take Baron whenever they want. They have Kai'Sa. Come on, son. They don't even have a Mountain Drake, but they have almost 3-item Kai'Sa. Yep. They don't even have to. They got vision over chokes. I didn't even talk about getting vision over chokes, but they didn't have to have a cool Baron set up or anything like that. They just took it. And now this game's over. They'll probably go for like a 3-lane press. They can with the champions they have. Bjergsen doesn't have ultimate, so there's that. But yeah, so they're gonna go for a 3-lane press here. So just yep, there you go. You just peel back. Really, the lane assignments don't matter all that much. Just having the Broken Blade be the only thing that's that important. And then the 2 carries opposite of each other with the supportive type champion with them. They're so far ahead, that's why they can have that type of setup. So they can just like actually full pressure each lane rather than just like kind of just get baroned up minions in the other lanes. They can actually full pressure for getting 3 towers. Insane, the lead they have. Boom, boom, boom. And this is going to be pretty much the end of the game. Yep. Here we go. I really like TSM's draft in this game, but I mean the game was just kind of boom. But TSM played their draft really well, played really well around their advantages, so kudos to them. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, look at those happy boys. Look at Akaadian. He's like these. He's like these peasants didn't even think we were good. Oh, anyways, cool. So yeah, that was that game. Honestly, not that much to analyze in that game. Do you guys hear my squeaky ass chair? Jesus, need some WD-40. Yeah, honestly, I'll just be honest. Not a whole lot to analyze in that game. But TSM had a pretty good draft. I think. I think they won out in the draft narrowly. CLG had a pretty good draft as well. Had an okay draft. I think they had some tools to work with. I did favor TSM's draft though. But TSM played obviously that game was just boom out of bot lane so fast. Like that game just went boom so fast. So, but then TSM played really well around their advantages, the way they use their champions and the choke point and the jungles. But that's something that you should expect about a high level team. And TSM is in fact a high level team and a good team. So that's something that you should expect. But good on them to play around their advantages once they had them, and the setup that they did with their champions. So kudos to them. And cool to see the Taliyah pick come back out. So excited to see that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. That's going to be it for this VoD review. I'll have a lot more, and they'll be a lot better. I didn't like how this one came out all that much. I think because this game was kind of a stomp, and I haven't done a VoD review in a week, so I was a little rusty. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. I need to find the stop recording button. I found it. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye.